She's like, nope, I'm out. All
Esther
right.
doesn't want to be in the video.
No, not today. So, what is up, guys? New house, new setup, new adventure. Very excited.
Plus cat.
Plus cat, which has not previously been on screen before, but will probably appear quite a bit now. So I'm not sure about this lighting. We're doing this in the living room, and so I'm sure the lighting is probably fine, but the audio is probably going to be loud and echoey because we're in the loud and echoey living room and the AC is on. So we're figuring out all those kinks, and I'm trying to figure out the optimal place to record for upcoming projects. I've done a couple of Zoids videos already, but I haven't worked on any other projects really yet because we've been moving in and still dealing with work and trying to unpack and get settled in and all that stuff in the meantime. So it's been quite a ride. I wanted to do this Q&A video as a way to kind of thank our first big chunk of subscribers and the people that have followed us pretty much since the beginning, and kind of, I just think that's something that really everyone should do every once in a while. And to me, with the content creators that I like, I always appreciate that opportunity to kind of get a little bit of a behind the scenes look at their thought process, what makes them make the kinds of decisions they do when they make their content. And it's kind of just like a little glimpse into their life, even if, depending on how much they actually want to share. Esther's just sitting just outside the tripod there, like she's the cameraman now. It's like, nah, I'm just gonna groom myself.
Bitch. I love her. I call her all sorts of mean things, but I do love her.
Right. Like you'll call her like a slut and a whore, and then get mad at me for saying this animal the other day.
You called her a thing, and it was so mean.
So we had several people that submitted questions. I put this out on the previous video, as well as the she's right here now, as well as the Facebook post and everything. And I got a lot of really good questions. I'm going to be starting with the questions from our friends and followers that commented on the Facebook post, and then move on to viewers and subscribers and that kind of thing. So I tried to make sure there were enough of these questions that were geared towards both of us, and some of them are kind of
one-sided. It's okay.
Well, no, some of them are kind of out of the blue, like questions that you wouldn't think to be asked. So I'm kind of I'm okay with that. So the first one is definitely directed towards me because it's from Caleb. And we always love when we have like a little inside joke about this. So if Caleb is watching this, he's gonna hear this now. But we have like a little inside joke about when Caleb goes to ask questions at the Fate panels. Is it going to be about certain topics? Because there's like certain reoccurring topics that he always wants to unpack, and so that's like a running joke. Is like, what's the Caleb question going to be this time? And he actually hit the nail on the head with this one, and he has a really great question, probably more so for me. He said, "What is your greatest challenge when writing scripts for your scripted, heavily edited videos?" Really, I think it's the fact that I have like a dozen different ideas going in my head at the same time, and I want to make sure I put them in the correct order and don't forget anything, because the whole inspiration for the Fate series, the Timing Retrospective series, came up as a result of basically just shower thoughts of like, wouldn't it be cool to unpack that scene in a video, and then it just snowballed, and when I'm sitting there writing, I'm like, okay, am I forgetting something? Am I forgetting something? And it's trying to find a way to get all of these separate but important points to flow together and connect. And I feel like someone with a really critical eye could probably, oh, she is back there.
She's in the video.
I feel like somebody with a really critical eye could probably deconstruct the pacing and the structure of how the narrative tissue is kept together in those videos. But I haven't had like a writer's block necessarily. usually when I sit down to write, it usually flows pretty nicely, but it is very, very common that I will go back and reread a paragraph of a script and be like, and just change like 2 or 3 things. Like I'll either add an entire new sentence where I didn't fully explain something and I'm like, wait, there's way more to that doesn't make any sense, or I'll fix grammar and punctuations, or I'll just take out an entire thing altogether because it's a run-on, or it's not relevant. And then I also have to remind myself that there are certain plot things that I'm deliberately not talking about, so I can talk about them in a later video. And that's kind of like having to rationalize to myself to remember and be like, okay, I'm actually supposed to not talk about that here.
I do that with like when I write my story stuff. Like I'll write a whole scene and then I'll write like other bits of the story and then I'll reread the other scene and just adjust things to make everything flow, or like I'll add a little like consistency or like stuff like that. Like my Google Docs have like story ideas, and sometimes you'll see I'll use a different like color of text to see where I like change something or stuff like that.
Your method is probably, to be honest, it's probably a lot more, it's actually probably a lot more organized than mine in terms of using different tools to make little reminders of like the color coding, like you said. One thing I will do is if I know that, okay, let's say I'm talking about Fate and a character is introduced, but I don't plan on talking about that character until later, I'll put a little note in parentheses that says, mention this character later, or mention this when this event happens, so that I'm not like half explaining it here and then explaining the rest later. It's all in a concise chunk. And so I'll make little reminders to myself that way.
Yeah, I really just feel like my Google Docs are a hot mess half the time, but...
Well, it probably, as long as it makes sense to you, and as long as it helps you with the creative and writing process.
Bit,
yeah. So, Wesley wants to know, and this may not be a question that is super relevant to you. He wants to know what my favorite mecha of all time is.
Gurren Lagann, yeah, bam.
Yeah, Gurren Lagann is up there for me actually too.
I don't watch a whole lot of them, but a few of them that I've watched I've enjoyed. But yeah, I mean Gurren Lagann's the only one that comes up. Kill count. I'm kidding.
Do they have mechs in there?
The suits kind of can be mecha-ish, but
they have like alternate forms and stuff.
Yeah, like it just kind of like kisses it a little bit and then just goes.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit.
It's
but
like
it's not technically a mecha.
It's like we're gonna have an homage and that's about it.
Promare.
That's spoilers, but yeah, spoilers for Promare.
Spoilers.
There is absolutely a mecha.
It's a gear now.
And it's a great mech as well. Mine would probably, if I had to go with the one that has the most personal significance to me, it's got to be the Blade Liger from Zoids, just because design-wise, story significance, my own personal attachment to Zoids. I have a whole separate channel dedicated to it, and the fact that getting the blue one, the model kit that I have had since 2005, was like the first ever bit of anime anything that I ever like imported, and it's one of my most cherished possessions, really.
I imported Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack from like Japan. That was like one of the first things I've ever done, like import-wise. Yeah.
I love a lot of mecha, but I think by default that kind of has to take the cake there. So Austin wants to know. This is, I unfortunately am probably going to disappoint him with this answer, but he wants to know what our favorite co-op games are. So. And I feel like I have to cheat with this because he's probably wanting to, I would assume I don't know if he wants to know a favorite game that is designed specifically to be a co-op game, like, hey, this is a game that the entire thing is one big co-op mode, or if it is just one that happens to have a co-op mode tacked onto it.
I mean, the only game that I really felt like we played that was technically co-op was Overcooked.
Yeah, yeah, that we played together.
Yeah, because actually, you're supposed to play that game co-op. I can't imagine playing that game by myself. I just
yeah, that's a really good point. New Super Mario Bros. On the Wii.
Did we play that together yet?
We haven't yet, but that is a game.
Can I have the Switch gamepad?
That is a game with a fantastic co-op mode.
No, it's not.
Especially if you have 4 people, because it's just an absolute hot mess. Left 4 Dead.
I have played that game co-op, and it is a hot mess.
Yeah, well, it's a hot mess if you.
And especially if you decide to do it with your sibling.
Yeah.
It's like
pick each other up and throw you kind of thing.
John. Shout outs to John.
Yeah, no, I think Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 was definitely I have a lot of fond memories playing that with Chris and everything. My favorite, I'll just mention my favorite co-op memory of any game ever, period, is hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, is the VidMaster challenges from Halo 3 and ODST. And the level of coordination that you had to have with the other 3 people to make that work. And you know what I'm talking about, Austin. So when we finally did that, and I don't feel like Chris did this with us. Like, I think I had to do it again with Chris.
Minecraft. Sorry.
I was gonna mention that. I don't know if that counted or not, but when we did the firefight one in ODST, it was me, my brother, Dustin, and a random person that he found online who was wanting to get the achievement, and it was just like hours of persistent grinding and just total coordination of like I'm like, you guys need to listen to every single thing that I'm telling you and follow these instructions to the T to make this work. And it was actually over before we knew it. I was like, wow, we actually did that. It's over. We'll talk more about that another time, I'm sure. But that was there has never actually been anything like that. Like, it kind of exists outside the game. Like, it's not something that they tell you to do within the game itself. It's this external challenge that you as the player kind of put on yourself, but you get a tangible reward for it.
Right.
So our Evan wants to know which content creators inspire us. I'm going to let you answer that first.
So is that like, are we talking about like YouTubers or?
Yes.
Oh God. What am I watching on YouTube a lot lately?
That one guy with the one.
Brandon Ferris has definitely been a huge. I really like how quirky and funny his videos are, and I like that they don't have like an ending. There is no like, comment, and subscribe at the end of his videos. They just like bluntly cut off in the middle of chaos. And I love chaos. I love chaos and I love shenanigans. And all his videos are compacted, perfectly filled with just the perfect amount. But as far as like Let's Play wise, Manly Badass Hero has always been one that I've watched. Who else? I mean, we mentioned Nico B the other day, but there's some things I just can't watch of his. Like, certain ones are fun to watch, but I wouldn't want his Danganronpa 2. I would never want someone to watch that to be their first experience with.
No.
But if you like Danganronpa 2, his videos are great. Hilarious, and he makes terrible jokes, and he does voices, and it's a lot of fun. So
yeah, so Vinny as well.
Oh my God, Vine Sauce! I love Vine. I love Vinny so much. Vinny, I do like some of the others, but that's my boy. Stallone, Papa Goose Scooties.
So mine is kind of, I guess I didn't think about Let's Players actually, because I was thinking more about people that do the more heavily edited, scripted stuff. And so it kind of goes into 3 categories. Like, there's basically like those type of content creators, Let's Players, and then like the Yu-Gi-Oh community kind of as well.
Yeah, I wish I'd say I actually watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content, but I don't.
There is definitely a gradient scale of quality. Well, actually, I take that back. There is, but it's almost like people will watch regardless of what the production quality is, and that's one of the cool things about doing Yu-Gi-Oh videos is people, especially if you're doing decks, is people intentionally want to see a variety to get different opinions, so they won't just stop at the most popular video. They'll go down the chain to other videos if they like, I don't know if this is what I wanted to see, and they'll just keep going down the chain. So your video will get views even if you're basically a nobody.
I don't deck build, so this is not. That's the only reason why I don't watch a lot of videos like that. I don't deck build. That's you.
So, but without getting off on a huge tangent there's 3 different categories they fall into. It's the scripted editorial style videos that this sort of subgenre kind of goes all the way back to like the early stages of internet content creators. Like the reviewers basically is what this kind of goes back to. And so, but I'm very slow on the uptake when it comes to like popular YouTubers. I don't like the most popular ones because I don't like how, and it has nothing to do with like, you know, jealousy or they have like a monopoly on views or anything
it's
like.
Mainstream.
Yeah, it's so mainstream, or it's for kids. Like I don't.
Because I like a Markiplier video every once in a while.
Yeah, but my thing is more so like how the methods that the people at the top use are copied so much by the people just below them that it comes across as so fake and so condescending. Like you said about the like, comment, subscribe thing. I hate that. I hate it whenever I see it, and
I don't mind it because you want people to.
But they know that their viewers hate it. But it's like the thing you have to do, and you
have to like remind them at the end of the video just in case they forgot.
Yeah, and there's something that's so insincere, and I guess that was my approach with this channel from the beginning. Is this is just my personality. I don't put on a fake face for videos. And I've never said anything that was not my honest opinion on a video.
This is true.
People, and it seems, and we talked yesterday about like the egocentrism and how people at the top seem to have this persona that is them in front of the camera. So with that tangent out of the way, the ones that I like are usually ones that are very, very, very sincere. So there's a couple that I'm watching that I've been hooked on more recently that have given me a lot of inspiration to write, and you'll see elements of their style that I'm sort of unintentionally mimicking in my videos. And now that I've said this out loud, you'll probably see it if you're familiar with their content. So, Folding Ideas is a channel I started watching recently, and he's like super into like film theory and the stuff you would actually learn in film school.
Oh, that's cool.
And but not in a way that's like super pretentious. But he seems like a film critic with credentials, but he doesn't review like, hey, here's the latest review of the latest blockbuster that just came out. It's like, hey, I saw this terrible garbage in like a theater on a Thursday, and it had really bad editing, so I'm going to sit here and talk about editing for 45 minutes. Is kind of what he does. And it just comes across as a lot more sincere, and I actually learned something from his content. Then there's Knowing Better, which is a channel that I love, where he, it seems like whenever a topic is becoming relevant to me, like I'm learning about a new topic, he makes a video about it. Like I'm not even kidding, like literally, just to give an example I can remember off the top of my head, is when I was watching, so we watched those videos, the Star TV videos about the anti-MLMs.
Yes.
And we had friends that were getting into MLMs. And then I had like a huge string of like anti-MLM videos that I was watching. And then right at the end of that, boom, he makes a 30-minute anti-MLM video.
Nice.
And I'm like, but
my dude, thank you.
But I love his visual style, his editing style, the amount of research he does. I like that he has been able to talk about more like political and ideological issues from a moderate's perspective, because that's incredibly uncommon, and that's really refreshing to see. And like I said, I love his editing style. The next Fate video, you'll see elements of that style in the video, just the camera angle and everything. And then like, so there's that. Yeah, the Let's Players, H.C. Bailey still comes to mind. I have literally followed all of his Let's Plays for the JRPGs, the Final Fantasy series, the Dragon Quest series, Radiant Historia, Hexus Force, Disgaea, all the ones that are like on my playlist are gonna be like, I'm gonna follow his guide as I'm playing them, because he understands things about these games that you would not understand on one playthrough, because he just has such an intimate knowledge of JRPGs. Like I can't even begin to tell you how many times I played Final Fantasy X before he did a run of it, and then his run came out when the HD version came out, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm grinding for like ability spheres. I'm like, I never would have thought to do that. Like that didn't seem important to me, and so it's like this whole other level, and I typically don't like people that play games blind, because there's no point to, unless it's a game I have no intention of playing, there's no point in me watching it if I don't think they're going to actually finish their run, or if they're going to get stuck for several hours on the same part, which is sometimes what happens if you play a game blind. I still really enjoy the Runaway guys, which is Chuck Conroy, Nintendo Capri Sun, and them. I see them at MomoCon every year, except for this year because it was canceled. I have like 3 selfies with Tim, who is Nintendo Capri Sun. And then the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I mean, really all the big household names like MCO40, like Simo, like DZeef. And there's different, always something different there, because all of them, they don't try to like really copy each other. They always do something different, and they're so interconnected in that community that they kind of, I feel like there's almost like a little bit of soft communication there, where they say, hey, you do this and I'll do this, and it's not like there's no overlap, and they collaborate with each other enough to where it's not.
Sorrow TV and Suit House are honorable mentions because I love them.
I wish they would actually make content again, because they both those channels seem to drop off the face of the earth. But those are 2 channels where I could really put it on as background noise, and I can rewatch the same videos endlessly. Like I'll listen to them on the way home from work. I'll put one on before I go to bed.
Oh, Mike Helg showed me that one guy, Def Noodles. And I've been watching a lot of his, but his is mostly making fun of drama, and that's how, like, it's just a spilling tea channel, but I like how sarcastic and real he is about some of the issues. He's like, what the hell? And
I could not even begin to care about drama. I just am not into it at all.
I gotta get that tea. I love you, Mike Helg.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. This is one that's hard to answer, and I think we'll kind of be a little disappointing with this answer. My friend Dakaris wants to know about favorite fighting games, and I think he wanted to know top 5.
Like side scroller fighting,
like tournament fighters. And I'm like, I really couldn't give you a top 5.
I couldn't give a top 5 because I don't really play them that much.
Neither do I. I'm terrible at all of them.
I'm not good at them either, but I really enjoyed Soul Calibur. Which one was the one that came out on PlayStation 3?
4.
That one was the one I played the shit out of.
Yeah.
That was really the only Soul Calibur I've ever played.
I've never really had a good experience with fighting games because I'm terrible at them, and no one has really tried to show me how they function. They just assume that you know and just proceed to beat you up. And like
Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I hate Smash.
I love Smash Brothers.
I hate Smash.
I love Smash Brothers.
People think Smash is like a party game that anybody can pick up and play. It's not. Like there are so many things about the mechanics that you, the Smash players, assume is just intrinsic knowledge, or is easily accessible, or is just so implied when you pick it up. It's like, of course you do this. I'm like, I don't fucking know that. Like, what's a side B? I don't know what the fuck a side B is. And then, so like, you can't, if you play Smash as a party game, you're either playing with a bunch of people that actively play it, or you're playing with a bunch of people who are just button mashing. So,
button mash. I don't always button mash, but when I do, it's with Ganondorf, and it usually works out for me. I just like, it's so funny because I'm 5 foot tall, and I'm a small, quiet girl, and like sometimes some of the guys at the work on the weekends will bring in their Switches and hook up Smash, and then I'm like, oh, I want to play, and then they're like, cool, and then I just select Ganondorf, and they're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
and I'm like, hello. I do pretty good.
So I have to say this is cheating, but my favorite fighting game is Fatal Limited Codes, only because it's the one I've put the most time into, and I legitimately enjoy the way they designed it in terms of gameplay. Like it actually makes sense, and following this tutorial was like, okay, this actually makes sense to me, unlike most other fighting games. And so I was like, yes, I can totally play this. For years before I actually was able to physically play that game, I was watching people playing it on Japanese arcades on YouTube re-uploads, and I was like, this is so cool. But yeah.
Can I say Sonic the Fighters?
Is that a real thing?
Yes, it is! Oh my god! It literally is an old-ass arcade game.
Oh my god.
That is a fighting style game.
I have
Oh my
to
god,
find
I have it. It's on one of the Sonic Mega or Gem collections. You can play it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to do that.
We can do that today.
That's gonna be a live stream eventually. I promise you. There's a Basara fighting game as well.
Oh really?
Actually,
can I say Melty Blood? I'm looking out for you, Joey. I did pretty alright.
I was gonna say Melty Blood as well. And aside from that, I really love Guilty Gear. I like the gameplay and I love the character designs.
I never played that.
I'll show you the newer one. There's another one that's being made, but I like Guilty Gear a lot. I'm not good at it, but I really enjoyed. I remember when Xrd first came out, I dropped money to get, because I didn't have a PS4 at the time, but Cheyenne did, so I dropped money to get a PS4 copy for Cheyenne, went and played it with her, and I was like, I really like this. She used to be really into fighting games. You know what I have a soft spot for is all the bad fighting game anime. That would be an amazing marathon, is to watch all of the bad 90s anime based on fighting games, because all of them have one. All of them have one.
Really?
Yeah, even BlazBlue has a bad anime, but I don't know if that one is entertainingly bad. The Street Fighter 2 movie is really good. I technically have that because Chris gave me a game that has a DVD of that included with it.
Okay. Never.
Yeah.
Never knew that. That's new knowledge for me.
One day.
One day.
I don't own a lot of those anime, but I know what they all are and I can track them down. If anybody wants to do an anime screening of Fatal Fury, the motion picture, that's a fucking riot. So, Jamie, of course, wants to know favorite horror games.
Forest and Drizzling Rain. I mean, I always like that one a lot. But there's also there's a silent character, and he's very precious to me. But yeah, it's definitely, that one's when I think of the RPG horror games, there's obviously all the Mogeko stuff that's really good, like Wadadahara and Mogeko's Castle and all sorts of different ones that are from the same creator. But I will never forget how Forest of the Drizzling Rain made me feel. And it's so bad because I tried watching Manly's Let's Play of it, and it's so hard to watch it again. It's really one of those, the first time you watch or play it, that's where you really feel it. It's not, you can't really get the same. You can't get back that first experience because it's just very interestingly written, and you want the good ending, but you're never going to get the first part. You actually have to play it multiple times to get the first ending because there's so many different variables on it. But yeah, that one would be it. What's your favorite horror game, my good son?
So again, it's not, I'm going to be disappointing with this answer because I don't play a lot of them. I really don't play nearly as many of them as I should. I mean, they're such a popular genre. I think most of the best horror games are on PC, which is probably why I haven't played them. My favorite is Resident Evil 4, easily.
Can I say Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm kidding.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you can't.
so fucking kidding. That's not scary. I mean, you get past the first few jump scares and you're fine, but the concept of creepy animatronics are creepy. Yeah, but I've never played a Resident Evil.
4 is the best one, and it's also pretty much a standalone story. And it's also so it's funny because when it first came out, you're like, oh yeah, the production quality is super good, the voice acting is really good, and then very shortly after that, you're like, wow, this is really hammy and cheesy. This is a ham and cheese sandwich. This game is, but it's
ham and cheese sandwich.
But it's great.
Ham and cheese Sandwich.
all the cheesy parts of the dialogue have aged so well, because then you go to Resident Evil 5 and everything is delivered like super serious, and you're like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, what happened to the silliness?
It's a horror game.
Yeah, but it knows how to play its hand well, and like I said, I'm not really that big of a horror fan. I did play the 2 Yomawari games on the Vita that I both highly enjoyed, both of those games, for their art style, and the gameplay is simple but effective, and I told Jamie we would eventually sit down and play those. We'll sit down and play them one day too. So Wesley wanted to know again, and I left. This question was
I see it.
This question was formulated so strange, but I had to leave it in because we actually have an answer for this. So you wanted to know least favorite Switch games, which is such an obscure question, but I'm like, wait a minute, I absolutely have an answer for this. So ever since Holly Matsuri 2017, it has been a tradition that anybody that comes into our group. Did you play this?
Yes, I played it. It's bad, but that's not what I'm going to think of.
Well, it's objectively the worst Switch game.
It is the worst Switch game that we've played, but it's not something that I'm like actively thinking about. Like, I'm sure there's like I don't even know how to think about it. I gotta think for a second, like what Switch games I own and which ones have left like a taste of disappointment in my mouth. And it's not that, because that one, you start up the game and you already know it's bad. Like there's like, to me, a bad game is when you have high expectations and then when you play it, you have like, you like feel like you just bit into a bar of soap.
Right,
and you're just like, I don't like it.
What is there another Switch game that fits
no,
that category?
There's not really. I mean, you can't say Hyrule Warriors, but I mean that's just.
Yeah,
that's not because the gameplay is bad. That's because they had to pick the most niche fucking characters to be in. Like, if they had a more variety of characters other than, you know, Awakening Echoes and
Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yeah. Why did I say that?
I was trying to think of what you meant, because I'm like, everyone that's talked about Hyrule Warriors has said that
Did
the
I
characters.
Say Hyrule Warriors?
Yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors.
Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm tired, y'all. I don't sleep.
I think that's probably your most disappointing Switch game.
Yeah. Well, I don't own Hyrule Warriors on the Switch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so Fire Emblem Warriors.
Fire Emblem Warriors.
I like it, but I acknowledge all of its problems and wish it was better. I was going to go with Vaccine. So the game is called Vaccine. It is a game which we have to indoctrinate everyone who comes into our group into playing. They have to get vaccinated before they join the group.
Oh my god.
It is. I didn't know it was. So like I think it's intentionally bad because it's made to be a very obvious Resident Evil 1 clone.
There's no
down
way
to
to
the,
beat it.
No, you can totally beat it. I'm not convinced that it's impossible to beat. It's just designed so poorly, and the fact that it's procedurally generated means that it's just not very likely for you to beat it. But it is pretty funny to see who can get the furthest in it. So yeah. So Eric has a question for us. He wants to know favorite game soundtrack. Now this is. I could literally give you a stack this big and not be able to pick between them. Like there's so many.
There's so many, and I mean, I really didn't own a whole bunch of them. Like I don't own a whole bunch of soundtracks. So one of the ones I do own is Sonic Adventure 2 because let's just face it, Sonic games can mess up in any way possible, but their music slaps.
Mm-hmm. Even the bad ones?
Even the bad ones. You can't tell me that Seven Rings in Hand isn't a dope song. It's a terrible game. I'll let you listen to it. It's a terrible game. It's a terrible Wii game that was trying to, it's like one of the first ones that was trying to figure out the Wii motion. And it's terrible, and it's it's short to impossible to actually beat because it's awful. But like Sonic music is always great, but there's not going to be a moment that I listen to any song on the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack that doesn't make me happy because it's good, and that I know all of Knuckles' levels, lyrics, all of them. You
have all the lyrics memorized. Yeah, so mine, I really can't pick one soundtrack that is my favorite. But I mean, there's all of the Final Fantasy games, all of the Dragon Quest games, all of the Fire Emblem games.
Fire Emblem's got good music too. Harvest Moon actually has really like nice and quiet ambient music. It's really nice.
Yeah, Fate Extella has an amazing soundtrack. Vanquish has an amazing soundtrack. Devil May Cry 3.
Devil May Cry 4 actually, that soundtrack's pretty good too.
Yeah, Castlevania 4 I think of a lot as well. All of the Halo games, and actually there's two big points I wanted to make. Is that with when it comes to the way the soundtrack is used in the game, I have to give a special acknowledgement to the Halo soundtracks because first of all, Marty O'Donnell's a genius. Second of all, he'll write like a big piece of music, and there's like, it'll start with one part of the track and then the other layers and like the peaks and like crescendos and everything else will start to hit once you get past a certain point. And so it's not just ambience, it's actively evolving with the gameplay. And then you get to like Doom 2016 that has like that concept fully realized, where the music literally responds to the gameplay and is sort of organic, and the way that the music evolves with the gameplay from the slow pace at the beginning up until when you're like at full power at the end, it's a fucking masterpiece. Like it really is, and it's best actually experienced in the game. If you listen to the Doom 2016 soundtrack on its own, it's like, yeah, this is cool, like electronic heavy metal kind of stuff, but then you really miss the way it's implemented if you listen to it outside of the game. That's the best way to experience it.
So speaking of which, can we play a Doom game and actually explain to me how it's played so I can enjoy it and not be thrown into a Doom game where I'm not sure what the hell's going on?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to know like why people like Doom, because right now I've only played one, and I was given a controller and was like, have fucking fun.
And I think
it was awful.
I'm pretty sure it was Doom 64 that you played too.
Yeah, it was.
And that was before that was ported, so you're playing it on an N64 controller.
Yeah, and no one explained anything to me. And,
yeah.
And it was just, I was just mad. I was a mad lad the entire time. But you like it, and I want to know why.
Well,
I
I can kind of explain why, but that's not for this video.
Not for this video.
So, any other soundtracks you want to mention, or?
No, I'm good. I mean, I listened to way too much to actually remember what the hell I
Okay.
listened to.
So, our friend Liz wants to know, what is your dream cosplay?
God, I just want to finish like more than one Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay. God bless if I wanted just.
So it's got to be Evil Jessie, right?
I want to be Yubel possessed Johan so damn bad, but now like Vrains has come out, so I'm like, which one of those do I want to be ambitious and do? Because those wigs are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But as far as like dream cosplays, like I kind of already did the one that was super something that I was like wanting for a long time, and that was Jack and Carly.
Yeah.
So that one was one of the ones that was up there on dream level, but I really just want to start really going ham on Yu-Gi-Oh cosplays because I see people doing it, and I want to have fun too.
Right. I've kind of hit the characters that I really care about with Yu-Gi-Oh. My dream cosplays. So with my dream cosplays, I've literally, there's not many that are like, if it's unobtainable, I kind of just quit thinking about it. So the ones that are actually realistic, I'm just gonna do them. And so I've been doing that the last couple of years. So last several years, honestly, since I've been able to, if I've had the hands-on skills to make it or have it commissioned, I'm just doing it. And so, going back to Doom 2016, that armor is a dream cosplay, and it is technically in the process of being made because I have a weapon, I have a helmet being made, I have a 3D printer, I have files. The steps are there, but like making
it happen.
But like Har was a dream cosplay, Jack was a dream cosplay. But it was just being like, okay, I'm just gonna make it. I'm just going to make it.
Just gonna do it.
And so that was like was with Hector, where it was like, I'm just making Hector this year. This was just happening, and I just made it. Like it just happened.
I'm ready to start doing this.
If there was one that I would love to make, but is so far beyond it, and again, I'm at that point right now with. I'm gonna step back for a second with Dream Cosplays. Final Fantasy V Gilgamesh is one that I've talked about so much, and I'm at the point where I'm making it. Like I am making it. I mean, obviously, when cosplays are actually going to be a reality again, and when cons are going to be a reality again. But like I have everything. I kind of have it figured out in my head how I'm going to make it, and I'm just going to do it. Like that was Dream Cosplay, but I'm just going to make it. It's going to happen. Yeah. The only Dream Cosplay that I would have that is like unobtainable, where it's like I want this but this will never happen, is from Vanquish, the main character's the ARS suit or whatever it's called, because that thing is just so over designed. It's not going to happen. There's one guy ever that has made that, and it looks phenomenal. It was kind of his namesake for the while, but the image I have in my head of making that is like where it does like the Iron Man thing where the face actually like opens up, but that's
I
not.
have no idea what you're talking about. Okay.
I'll show you what it looks like. It's fucking ridiculous. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So next question. So this comes from George, and he always has the best questions for us at our panels. And the way that he phrases is interesting. So I'm gonna try to rephrase this a little bit. So he's like your warts and all favorite anime. So I kind of rephrase that to like favorite anime that didn't age well. So one that is like, okay, maybe that's not objectively good, but I kind of like it anyway, or maybe that's good, but it really doesn't hold up over time, like that kind of thing. Like one that you know is flawed, but you love it anyway, kind of. My answer for that is easily Gungrave. Because I didn't realize my first time watching it, but that series has a ton of like early 2000s digital edits, and I've pointed them out to you when we were watching it.
I mean, you wouldn't have to. I would have picked them up pretty easily.
Yeah, and so I'm very nostalgic for like 90s anime, and there's some modern stuff that I like, mainly if it's animated by Ufotable or Production IG or Trigger. Outside of that, I'm not really crazy about a lot of modern stuff. And so like that fits in this weird, awkward era of like, yeah, it's hand-drawn, but we're using like weird digital tactics. And so there's like, you'll have like a still frame where they just digitally pan over it. I'm like, okay, that looks bad. But so visually Gungrave has not aged well at all.
Not at all.
But
it's awesome.
The story is good. And it's one of those things, it's a stark contrast to the game, because the game is more like comic book style, where it's got like the little flashy, like the word bubbles that pop up on the screen.
Yeah.
And it has like a little bit of a cell shading going on. It's more Night Owl, like with his style, with like the big shoulders and the lanky proportions, and it's got like a very like jazzy soundtrack, and it's got a lot of like neon and stuff in the background. It's just a little more stylized, whereas the anime is very gloomy, not nearly as focused on action, and is really focused on a more intimate story. So that's my answer. It has
I don't have one. Can I steal yours?
How can you not go with GX?
I didn't want to say GX because I still want to watch it all the time.
Because GX has the exact same problem I just described.
I know, when you were talking about it, I just thought about the freaking hand that comes out of the screen.
Okay, yeah, so I've only mentioned this one other time on this channel. It was the panel we did at AWA last year, the Yu-Gi-Oh panel, but if you guys want to see some hilariously bad animation, or hilariously bad digital enhancements to animation, watch the episode of GX. It is the season 2, the rematch duel between Jaden and Esther, and he's right about to attack with Flare Neos, and you can see his hand with his cards at the bottom of the frame like this. It's like right here at the bottom of the frame, and there's this digital edit where he like rotates his hand down out of the frame, but it's like.
But there's also an edit later on where the hand like comes up from the screen and the way it does, I'm like, that doesn't look right at all.
Yeah, it's disgustingly smooth, and it's not like one of those things like what the 4Kids dub would do, where they would do digital. They would speed up and slow down the lip flap to match their dub this was in the Japanese version that we watched this.
Yes, yeah.
So it's in there. Like go watch it. Yeah. But no, GX has to hold that spot because
I guess
it's fine. It just hasn't aged well in terms of visuals.
Visual wise, no. But I mean, you could say that for the original as well. Because there's some things in the original I'm like, ooh, this is cool.
I still like the way that season 1 of DM is animated. I think
there's
that holds up.
certain things that are fine about it, but then there's certain things that you look at and you're like, what in God's hell are you trying to do?
I would actually argue that DM gets worse as it progresses.
Yes. Well, so it gets so like, especially when you hit like into Battle City and like the Orichalcos, like you could tell like Orichalcos, that whole season does not come up at all in the manga.
But what I was going to say as well that is not GX's fault is the fact that when you get to 5Ds and you get HD resolution, it's like, now it's like GX was like what, 480i or something like that.
Yeah, I will say like
5Ds is in 720p. So.
Yeah. Also, like I binged watched Brains.
Yeah.
And like going back from Brains and we like watched that one episode with Zane and Jesse, I was like, ooh, this is hard because like Brains had some pretty good animation going on there.
Yeah.
Top quality, top notch. Watch it.
So Dustin wants to know, what was our favorite moment while moving?
My brother screaming "Gold Team rules" all the fucking time.
When it was done, that was my favorite moment while moving. No,
so I had a fine time.
The actual real answer is this, like going up to my closet and being like, this bad boy can fit so many friends in it, and like 10 people just come out of the bathroom closet.
Well, my favorite part about that too was like you come into the bathroom and I'm sitting and I'm like, hello. But the fact that you saw like my brother like peering from the corner and heard him audibly go, oh shit, is also incredible. But yeah, so we kind of had like 2 teams of moving, and my brother was obviously on my team, and me and John literally have to be competitive assholes all the time. So he was going and referencing SpongeBob, going, "Gold Team rules!"
Right.
And that was pretty hilarious.
Did you, speaking of which, this is a total side note.
Yes.
I'm tempted to make this video completely unedited.
Go for it.
So, did you know that they did an HD remaster of a SpongeBob game that was released on the GameCube recently?
I think I've heard something about that. Does that mean that we have to play it?
I low-key want to, because it was a good enough game to have enough of a cult following in an HD remaster, so
oh my god!
I low-key want to play that.
But yeah, so I mean, moving the part where it was over was really nice, but like the first night of sleep just was so fucking awesome.
We were really tired.
Really tired.
And I had
calling out of work was so satisfying. Like that whole situation was nice. I'm so sorry to the people that I screwed over that weekend.
I had heat exhaustion at the beginning of the day when we started
you threw up.
So I was exhausted all day. And so
my moving experience was fine. I'm really sorry.
I loved being able to spend time with everybody and serve them the pizza and
Matt was there. Like Matt, I come back from like my 3rd or 4th run, and then Matt was there. And I'm like, hello, sir. I didn't even know you were in Georgia.
Yeah, I was like,
what a pleasant surprise.
We're not even moved in yet, and you're already in my house.
I was so happy.
So I was really looking forward to this question. So this question comes to us from Anthony. And he wants to know, did you expect the Type Moon group to grow in the way that it has and as much as it has? I'm like,
this is a you question.
Dude, no, not at all. Like, absolutely not. Like, I am still, and I was explaining to Kat, who was with us last weekend, I think, or a little bit longer ago than that. It was last week, yeah.
Sometime. And
I was explaining to her, I said, yeah, because she didn't go to AWA last year. I was like, AWA 2019 had the single biggest gathering of fake cosplayers in the Southeast ever, period, ever, period, ever, period, ever. Ever. And I was like, this is ridiculous, the size of this. And I'm continually just blown away all the time at the amount of people that are engaged with this and just how awesome everybody is. Like, we have our few bad apples. What we had one recently we had to deal with.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just life.
But it's an anomaly. It's an exception, not the norm. The norm is normally very good people who have very strong character. And to go back to like 2010, 2011 when I was first getting into Fate, first doing the cosplays, I would have killed to have just had a saber with me. And then I had that, and I'm like, I just want to have like a Rin. And I'm like, and now when you look at it and you see the amount of people and there's some people who are like, they just are that character. Like, it's so much so where it's almost like this break between like the person and the character where they just are that character. And I guess like with Jamie and Sakura, even though she's done like 4 other fake characters at this point, like she'll always come back to Sakura, and it's like she just is our Sakura. Like, it just works out perfectly.
Hi, I'm Rin. I can't seem to retire that bitch.
It's like Ivani with Mordred.
But I will say, I do actually have a comment to make about how big the group is. So I had a coworker when I was department manager, and he was like, oh, you like Fate? And I'm like, yeah, I like Fate. And he was like, well, I'm going to MomoCon. I'm like, oh, cool, come check out our group. It's at this time. And I remember running into him, and he was like, holy shit, this group is fucking huge. He's like, this was not what I expected. I'm like, hi, welcome to the Type Moon group.
Yeah,
we're huge.
This isn't your regular, like, this isn't your, hey, I'm gonna go to my local like D&D group of like 6 people. This is like 60 people, if not more.
Way
at that
more.
photo.
There
at that
was
photo
a lot
shoot.
more than 60 people at that photo shoot.
And it requires somebody with a little bit more, social skills and extroverted behavior than what you would normally expect out of a friggin' anime convention.
Yeah. But that was one of my favorite moments, was him going, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things where it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and the sky's the limit in terms of the potential of that group for sure. So we have some questions from some viewers. So Redka0 has 3 questions. Most of these, for the most part, apply to me. One of them, no, they all kind of apply to both of us. So they comment on how many import games we play and want to know, can we understand Japanese?
Not at all.
So no, the short answer is no, I can't. I can, if I listen to Japanese, I know enough about like some of the sentence rules about like where stuff has to be, and I know about words that are contextual, like based on either formality or title or like how close something is to you, is what word you would use to acknowledge that person or that object, whatever. I know about that stuff, but if you were to show me if I were to listen to Japanese without subtitles, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I just know about some of the rules, basically. I don't know many of the words.
I know like little to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I can't read it at all. That's for sure.
At all. So I mean, this is the same. I'm the same person that took 2 years of Spanish in high school, and I know some words, but like the word that I always joke that I know the most is pancakes in Spanish. So I mean.
I know way more Spanish than
I know more Spanish, but I mean, I'm saying like I haven't actively tried, even though it's around me.
Yeah, I definitely have to rely on translations or literally just winging it, which was like playing through Fate Extella the first time in Japanese.
I don't know how you do. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
or even the and the other thing too is there's so much English text in a lot of those games. Like Zoids Versus 3 has so much English text that you don't need a translation for that at all.
She did a perk.
They also want to know: are you caught up on Lost Belt 2 and Fate Grand Order? And the answer is no. I don't play Grand Order enough to keep up with it. I would probably read into the story.
Same.
Without actually playing the event.
I keep up with one mobile game. One mobile game only. And that's Duel Links.
I find the concept of the Lost Belts to be really interesting.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
I like the idea that, like, you know, out there in the cosmos, like, everything is so chaotic. It's like, how is it that mankind has managed to survive for as long as it has without being wiped out? And it's just like, hey, maybe there's we're like actually on the inch of extinction at all times, but there's some otherworldly force that's keeping us from being wiped out, and we just happen to be in the good timeline. I like that. I like the concept of that a lot.
I've seen some of the characters, so I'm like, I want to know more about that one. So yeah. I'll be investigating it soonish.
Yeah, and then the final question is, did we watch Extra Last Encore, and what do we think of it? You haven't seen that yet, right?
I have not. So 2 issues with me. 1, I don't have a lot of time. So I have to prioritize literally all my time. So anytime I have free time, it's usually drawing. Or spending time with, people. 2, I have the attention span of like a 5-year-old sometimes. Literally watching, I literally totally forgot it existed until now. So now I know. So now I'm gonna go watch it.
I've seen all of it, and I'll save my thoughts for when I finally do the video on that. But Umu, we could have just had that be the entire answer. just like deadpan the camera.
Umu.
But no, so I've seen it, and I do like it. It's not perfect, but I think
it's pretty.
I like it better than Apocrypha, and I think because it came off the heels of Apocrypha, it was an easy sell for me, because if it was made more competently than Apocrypha, which it was, then that was all I really needed for it to be a win. Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's not my favorite, but I don't mind it. TM Revolution did the opening though, which is amazing.
Yes, they did.
So, okay, so Swamp Shark 100 has another 3-part question as well. So they want to know, what are some games you're looking forward to? There's not really much that's coming out that...
I mean, so there is, they teased Breath of the Wild 2, which I don't... As I say, wearing a Zelda shirt, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but as soon as I play it, I'll probably love it. So, it's a Zelda game, so I'm probably just going to end up liking it. Now, there's Zelda games I don't like, obviously, but, there's the DLC, there's still one more DLC for Pokemon, Sword and Shield, perhaps one more, but, the one that I paid for that's coming out in, like, September or October, whatever, so I'm looking forward to that. But as far as anything else, I can't...
Yeah, there's not that much that's like coming up soon that I'm really all that excited about.
Pokemon Snap! I lied!
Yeah.
I want that Pokemon Snap so bad. I literally watched the Direct, and when I saw the little Pikachu going up to the apple and that little like click, I was like, this is the same person that wants a Sinnoh remake desperately, but there was tears. I was like, fuck Sinnoh, give me this. This is my childhood. I'm so excited. I just want to chuck apples at Pokemon again. I don't want to, I'm just excited. It looks pretty, and I like the fact that it's now all new Pokemon. Like, we're not just limited to, 150. We have, 800 now. Let's go.
Yeah, so with me, like I said, there's really not that much that's coming out that I care about, and maybe it's because we didn't have an E3, or a lot of game developers are like struggling and overworking due to COVID nonsense. Whatever that game is that Arcane is working on, I can't remember what it's called, but like where you're, it has something to do with time loops and like your two assassins trying to kill each other.
Oh.
It's Arcane, so like whatever, I'm sure it's going to be good. So Shantae 5 is technically out, but I am getting the physical print of it from Limited Run, and so I'm waiting for that to be actually printed and shipped to me so I can play Shantae 5. I'm really looking forward to that. And then you're gonna think I'm a huge dork, but you love me. They showed that trailer for that Star Wars Squadrons game, and I was like, yes, my inner 11-year-old is ready, and I was like, I'm here for it. And like
I'm not.
EA has betrayed us many times, even with this franchise. I'm willing to give them a shot. I don't even care.
I just
you know, there's really not much else that's coming out. There's earlier this year we got Trials of Mana, which I guess is the only ever like English licensed version of Seiken Densetsu 3, and I literally saw like one character's design and was like, playing that game. I showed you that. I was like, I've never been so sold on a game just based on their design.
Oh, I need to finish Devil May Cry 5, so I mean...
Yeah.
Now that I can. Now that I have unlimited access. Hello, I'm tired. Let me just, when I say shit that doesn't make sense, I'm tired. Sorry.
So they also want to know what some of your favorite artists are.
So I'm glad you gave me like a heads up on this one, because Clinton literally didn't tell me any of them, but he told me this question so I could think about it. So my mentality on it, on how I'm gonna, because I follow a lot of artists, and I like a lot of artists, and I basically broke it down on like who am I willing to pay for Patreon stuff for, and who am I currently paying Patreon stuff for. So there, and I'll put their links below, but there's at least 3 that are and who I've commissioned. Like there's of course like close friends that I'm always super supportive of, and these people I talk to and they're super nice and I adore their content, and they're not hard to talk to, they're super easy to talk to, which is nice. Like I like that too, because it's not like somebody super intimidating and I can't talk to.
By the way, really quick, y'all follow her on Twitter?
No, don't.
Well, like that's,
okay, so
that's where the majority of your actual content is.
I'm going to start using my Instagram more.
Okay, so follow her on Instagram.
I'll start dual wielding both of those when it comes to art, because Twitter's issue is that if you're not keeping up with your art, it can get lost. Like it just, and it's gone. And and their tagging system's hot fucking garbage. Mm-hmm. So I mean, follow me on. I'll start posting stuff on Instagram. I'll do like everything that I've recently posted on Twitter. I'll do like a mass dump on my Instagram, because I worked on some stuff. You called me out like that. Also, my Twitter is slightly not safe for work, and I want to hide my sins, please. Please, just
I don't have to provide a link. I just provide a link to the Instagram.
Yeah, I'm sure it can be found, because it's not that difficult to find me, because I use the same username for everything. So if you do find me on Twitter, just be warned. I'm stupid and sin bin. Anyways, I literally started my Twitter just so I could get Fire Emblem smut.
Yeah.
What do you think was gonna happen? Anyways,
go on, which artist? Yeah.
So there is, and 2 of these are Fire Emblem artists, and one of them's a Yu-Gi-Oh artist. One does not safe for work. Her Twitter tag is Justine. I think I'm saying that right. Her name's Justine. She's super nice. I pay for her Patreon. She does like mostly Sylvix. So if you like that ship, that's mostly what she does. I I like her. She does really good expressions and whatnot. Really, I don't care about seeing the genitalia. I just like seeing the faces and the blushy faces, and she nails that. Then there's Nintendo art. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Natalie, she's super awesome. Just in the time frame of when Fire Emblem has come out to now, like I've watched her art style change, and she just gets, every time she posts something, she uses beautiful colors. She also is a Sylvix shipper as well. Shocker! I wonder what ship I like. But
liked until Twitter.
I do like it. I still like it. I still like the ship, but I had to take a back step from it because you can get burnt out from a ship. But she draws all the blue lions, and she does a fantastic job at them. And so, but she also does like original OC stuff, and from what she's posted, what I've been able to see, her original stuff is really good too. And I've commissioned her, super awesome. And then the Yu-Gi-Oh artist, whom I really love, they actually have, he actually has 2 webcomics that he's doing that are inspired of Yu-Gi-Oh, which are really cool. He has really awesome OCs. His tag name is It's a Showtime. He goes by Show or Lunic. Super awesome art. Patreon's well worth it. Super cool, like nails the Yu-Gi-Oh art style, hands down. And the comics are kind of like kisses to both GX and Varanes. They have like characters show up, but they're definitely their own stories in between. So I'll link all of those artists. Those are definitely ones that I'm like, those are worth. That's my Patreon money there. And there's not many people that I'm like, I have to support their Patreon right away, but those 3 specifically, I do.
So the last question from Swamp Shark is favorite Yu-Gi-Oh archetypes in terms of theme or design. I'm going to answer this one first because you just got done answering yours. So obviously Dragoonity is up there. I think we've talked about this in another video, somebody asked this at the panel, at the Yu-Gi-Oh panel. So I love Dragoonity. I've loved them ever since the structure deck came out in 2011. Have always played them. Love the art style, the sort of Inca Aztec looking winged beasts, and then the weaponized dragons. So Dragoonities, love their art style. Literally have played them since day one. I like Burning Abyss because of the Dante's Inferno references. I really enjoy Little Lights, obviously, for their design and how fun they were to play when they were actually playable. I like the Time Thief archetype in terms of their art style. Someone has said that it's almost like a sort of anime Doctor Who style reference with the time traveling and everything. And then obviously been a really huge fan of Noble Knights forever. And as much as I love the original Noble Knights with the Arthurian legendary thing, they announced the Flame Noble Knights, or the Infer-Noble Knights as they're called in English. And I have got to say that Charlemagne might be one of the most appealing looking cards to me that's ever been made. I was like, everything about this card is appealing to me. So the art design, the fact that it's a synchro, it's got 3,000 attack, it's actually competitively viable, it's a fire attribute. I'm like, this everything about this was like designed for me. I'm like, this.
Oh my goodness.
Love that card so much. So yeah, no, there's a huge variety of decks and archetypes that I love, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I like Fluffles. Because I just like the cute stuffed animals turning into creepy things.
Right.
Because that just hits everything that I like, and I definitely have a soft spot for most dragon things anyways. So like the Dragoonities are cool to me, Dragon Bird things. Dragoonities are cool to me. I love love Red Eyes. I love all the Red Eyes stuff. And then of course, like Cyber Dragons. I'm also a sucker for Crystal Beast, even though they're impossible to use.
Not impossible. They're better now.
They're better now. They're better now. Now that I have Crystal Bond. Now that I have Crystal Bond. I'm ready to go. This is going to be my first attempt to make a deck without, like, assistance. So it's going to go terribly. So just get ready to help me fix it when I get frustrated and I stop.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I like Luna Lights as well. What else do I like?
The new Melfi archetype.
The Melodolces things are cute too.
Oh yeah.
So I like cute things, and I like dragons. There's a variety here.
But we're not the biggest fan of Dragon Maids.
I realized that, like, to a degree, I like maid stuff in general. Like, it's always like a staple to throw maid stuff in there. Like, Fire Emblem did it. Fire Emblem, Three Houses did it. You see people draw characters in maid outfits. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen, like, any Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro tag in a maid outfit. Like,
right.
I saw a bunch of Jaden today, for an example, when I was looking on Pixiv. But, like, it kind of, like, sideswipes me when I find that one character that's in a maid outfit, and I'm like, sold! I love it! And I'm like, why the fuck am I this way?
Yeah.
But, so yeah, Dragon Maids are not that for me, because I just don't care for the maid maid thing anyways. I was trying to think of the other one that I was thinking of. I totally forgot.
I guess one last final shout out. I really like generic cybers from a design standpoint, because never have I seen a main protagonist deck where I was like, wow, these cards are just like generically good and they interact well together. I'm like, you could make there's so much like pure cyber support as well. And I'm like, you look at cards like Backup Secretary and
those are so cute.
What's the Balancer Lord and all, and the kite one, Infralink Flyer, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is supposed to be the anime. He's not supposed to have good cards that actually work together. And I'm like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is surprisingly competent. I'm really surprised by this. All the Vrains archetypes are really cool.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, there's not many of the Vrains decks that I dislike. I just feel like certain one of them. So, separate complaint about Vrains altogether is that certain characters' decks get really repetitive, and that's mostly in the second season, and that's part of the plot, but it's annoying. But I mean, Salamangreats are awesome. I wish we could have seen more of the Marine sets actually used, because
they're really cute.
They're really cute, and that's a prime example of like third season kind of nipping certain things in the butt that they shouldn't have.
I remember you being on Discord voice chat with us watching it, and you're like, I swear to God, if I see another goddamn Dino Wrestler, I'm gonna.
No, I got to the third season, I'm like, Donkeys are back, and you knew exactly what I was talking about. Yeah,
it's also been really...
it wasn't just one character using the Dino Wrestlers. It was 3 motherfuckers using Dino Wrestlers. And then, like, don't even get me started. There's one guy, I don't even know their official cards, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. His shtick is fucking airplanes. And they're stupid, but they're cool looking.
Yeah,
I don't even think they're official cards, but...
I don't think so.
I cannot, like... When we're done with this video, we're gonna watch Vrains, because I miss it and I need my fix.
It was also really funny with her watching me watching Vrains, having just dealt with these decks for the past 2 years.
Watching Clinton watch any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, we stopped, like, silly little sillies in the middle of, like, Season 3 of GX and the Zane and Yubel Jesse's duel, and you were like, he's gonna bring out Cyber Overlord or something like that.
Somebody made a comment, they were like, it's like, he needs to be able to win next turn, but how could he possibly do that? I'm like, well, he just top decks Overload Fusion. And it's exactly what he did. I've never never seen the episode before.
I had to like pause. There's so many times where you do that, and we had to pause because I'm laughing too hard at the fact that you can predict. You're literally predicting moves. I'm like, stop it. Don't kick the couch, woman.
She's been back here the entire time.
She's stuck.
She's stuck.
Her back got stuck.
She's like, I was just waiting for y'all to notice. So yeah,
she's cute.
As Tufts of hair just float away.
You're getting a bath, but we're gonna do it the proper way, not the dumb way I did the other day.
So yeah, so thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. So I have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline that I mentioned. I mentioned this in the previous video, honestly, the same videos I'm working on. So I'll be writing the script for the next Fate video very soon. And I have a pretty in-depth Yu-Gi-Oh video that I'm working on that talks about rarities and the history of how rarities were released in sets. And so if you've ever played like the Cyber Night drinking game of we're not guaranteed a holo in this set, then you will finally have the answer to why does that even bear mentioning? Like why is it even important to reiterate which sets are guaranteed a holo per pack and which ones are not, and all the other little nuances there.
I want to play the Sonic game so bad for nostalgia purposes, but you've also never really played Legend of Zelda, so many endless possibilities of what games I want to play, and I just need to figure out which ones I want to.
We'll get Twitch back up and running again and do some stuff over there as well.
Yes, because you can't marry me and not ever play a Zelda game. I'm sorry.
I mean, obviously, but I've played 1 and 2 a little bit.
That's fine, but I'm talking about like there's so much like to enjoy on all of them, except for Phantom Hourglass. Now,
the one you just like.
That's
the
like,
only one.
That one and the one the train one.
Spirit Tracks.
That's the one. I don't even want to remember it.
Right. So we'll probably do another one of these when we get to 1,000 subscribers. So when we get there, we'll have another dumb Q&A video featuring a cat in the background and other ridiculous
2 cats
questions.
in the background.
Most likely.
No, I'm kidding.
And we don't know when that's going to be. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.